Hello, everybody. My name is LaPrecious, and welcome to my page. Let's talk with LaPrecious. So, today I'm going to be talking about self love. What is self love and how you can achieve it? And I know you can see all up in my closet, all of my clothes, but I think I have a beautiful selection of clothes. So, enjoy the view. And then over here, right above me, you have the picture of my lovely mother, Santa Marta la Dominadora. So, let's go ahead and have fun and have this discussion about self love and what exactly self love is. So, self love is pretty much when you love yourself, cherish yourself, and value yourself. But it's also when you respect yourself enough to put yourself in environments and around people that respect you as much as you respect yourself. Because growing up, I never really knew what self love was. I just thought that, okay, if I love myself, I'm going to put on makeup, I'm going to put on jewelry, pretty clothes, and, keep my hair fixed and everything, be nice, prim, and proper. But self love is a lot deeper than appearances. When you love yourself, you respect yourself for who you are, you like yourself for who you are, but you make sure that you're in an environment that caters to your needs, serve your needs, but it also respects your qualities and it respects your personality and it respects what you have to offer and what you have to give. Because a lot of times when we say we love ourselves and when we respect ourselves, we really don't. And it's not really easy loving yourself all the time because sometimes we don't necessarily love ourselves for who we are because of the people that we're connected to or the people that we choose to include in our lives as like lovers, friendships, or partners, or even jobs sometimes. Because a lot of these jobs we work at sometimes do not love us, they don't value us, they don't consider us, and they will try very hard to get us out of there or to get us to leave or get us to quit or make us feel like we don't belong. And some of us come from families that are very, judgmental, rude, mean, and some of us even date people who may not like everything that we do or like everything that we say, or they're just not very accepting of who we are. But if you're in a situation like that, it's time for you to reevaluate who you are and what you want and where you want to go in life. But you do need to reevaluate the people in your life so that you can finally be in alignment. You guys know that I am a very spiritual person. My YouTube channel, is mainly consisted of spiritual videos and videos, that talk about spirituality, ancestors, and spirits, everything alike. But, when it comes to self love, that's something that is tapped into in the spiritual community, but it's not really explained that well. Because when I first got started in spirituality, I hated how people always wanted you to substitute doing a love spell to get somebody to come to you for self love. Like, I remember there will always be like this scream or like this rage of, oh, you need to love yourself. Oh, you need to stop doing love spells. You don't need a man to love you. You don't need to do a love spell, blah, blah, blah. You need to put a spell on yourself and everything. And there is nothing wrong with wanting love, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be loved because I hate how in the Black community, especially, we do not encourage women to state how we feel or state what we want or to even state who we want. I feel like in the Black community, everything is done in a subtle way or it's done in secrecy or it's just done in like a hasty, kind of like sneaky way. I just feel like a lot of stuff that's done in our community when it comes to love, relationships, and kids and marriage, it's like if it's not taught to you, you somehow have to learn in a sneaky way, or you have to move around with it in a sneaky way just to get it. And, we oftentimes compare ourselves to other communities and say, well, they get married easily and it's easy for them to get men, and it's easy for them to have kids and the nuclear family. Well, you do have a lot of Black people that do have nuclear families, that do get married and that do have kids, but it's just the way that people are taught sometimes in the environments and the communities that they grow up in. A lot of times people are a product of their environment where they grew up with people being in relationships and being married and having kids. And sometimes that's how it happens for some people. But you have people who sometimes either don't grow up in that or they have families that did and they just don't teach it to them. or they don't show it to them, or they don't even try to like take the time out to show them how later on in life it is important for you to have somebody lined up outside of your mother and your father or your grandparents or your siblings, because the way life goes sometimes your parents may not always be here with you or for you when you hit 30 or 25 or 29 or 36 or 38. And the same thing goes for siblings and, grandparents because people pass away, people grow apart, and sometimes people just feel differently about, their own kids or about their own family or about, their own siblings as they get older. And so it's like if you don't have anybody else outside of that, then you're pretty much, by yourself or you're alone. So, relationship building and forming relationships with people is very important. So, it's okay to love somebody and it's okay to want to be loved and it's okay to want to love somebody else because as black women, a lot of times we get shamed for stating that we want to love somebody or that we want to be in love or that we want to be in a relationship. But I feel like we've evolved now and we're starting to be comfortable with seeking out our needs and our wants and our desires, which is a good thing. But I just don't like it how in the spiritual community especially and sometimes just in life in general and not in the spiritual community, we're taught to love ourselves when we say we want to be loved or we want somebody to love us. So there's nothing wrong with that because wanting to be loved and wanting somebody to love you is a part of self-love because if you love yourself and you know the kind of person that you are, if you are a talkative person or a people person or you're a community based person or you're somebody who, enjoys being around people, then you're going to be like, this is who I am. I like people and, I like relationships. So I want to be in a relationship with someone or I want to have friends or I want to be around people because that's what makes me feel good and that's what serves me and what caters to me. So all in all, self love or loving yourself more so has to do with you seeing yourself for who you are, embracing that and loving that, and putting yourself in an environment that embraces you and accepts you, and with people who embrace and accept you as well. But sometimes we not only deal with lack of self love because it's not taught to us, but I feel like rejection a lot of times, forms our perception of how we see ourselves. A lot of people deal with, rejection at a very, very early age and state in their life. They deal with it as a child, being rejected by their parents, being rejected by classmates, being rejected by, older adults and, teachers or preachers, people in church or people in different, religious settings and whatnot. And when you're young and when you're, fruitful and you start absorbing and learning different things. When you get hit with somebody dismissing you and not seeing you and not acknowledging you and, kind of turning themselves away from you because of the way that you look, the way that you talk, the way that you walk, or the way that you perceive things and look at things, it kind of forms this impaired thinking of how you view yourself. When you start to be like, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not fine enough, not handsome enough, I'm not thick enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not light enough, I'm not dark enough. And you start to have this sense of self hatred or this sense of self rejection. Because a lot of times, whether we realize it or not, we reject ourselves the way that other people reject us. And that's where self hate comes in at. And I can honestly tell you from being in an environment where racism and colorism is alive and well, it is really easy for you to hate yourself because people like to judge people who bleach and who lighten their skin or they get plastic surgery. But it's like if you're constantly in an environment where people get opportunities over you because of them being a certain color, or they get dating partners that you want because of them being a certain color, skin tone, complexion, or body shape, or hair texture, or you see people, getting more attention and notoriety because of the way that they look, the way that they come off, and the way that they perceive things that's different than you, it makes you feel some type of way. And then you start to feel like a caged bird or a caged, animal where you have all of these hopes and dreams and desires, but you're unable to fulfill them because you have rejection blocking you. And rejection is not always a bad thing. because sometimes rejection can be a blessing in disguise. A lot of people say rejection is God's protection, but sometimes people just don't like you. And sometimes people don't prefer you, you're not people's cup of tea, or sometimes people just don't see it for you being in their life like that. And that's okay. And that's where, we have to see rejection for what it is. Like, okay, they don't like me for me, they don't like me for who I am, they don't like me for what I'm about. Okay, I'm gonna walk on by. Because sometimes when you love yourself a little too much, where you start thinking it's all about me, 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 I. Rejection could be a really hard pill to swallow for people like that. And then you start to become a narcissist where you think everything has to consistently be all about you, 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 you. And then if somebody rejects you or doesn't want you or whatever, you have a hard time dealing with it or getting over it, or you feel like you have to somehow abuse that person or bully that person into them loving and liking you and wanting to be with you. So that's kind of where you had to be like, okay, I'm going to love myself, but not so much to the point where I think I'm bigger than God or I'm bigger than life itself. And I feel like since I feel like I'm important, and since certain people feel like I'm an important person, I should feel like that around everybody. Everybody should feel that way about me. And it's not always the case because everybody will not like you, everybody will not acknowledge you, everybody will not see your worth, and everybody will not see your value, which is why it's very important for you to have a mind for yourself, a heart for yourself, and a soul for yourself. Because if you're not strong within yourself and your talents and gifts and abilities, people will shake your foundation until it crumbles to the floor. If you do not have a strong sense of self worth, self value, and self love, when people call you ugly, you're going to fall. When people say that you're dirty or you're this or you're that, and it's not true, you'll fall to the floor and crumble and try to figure out how to fix yourself up to be what this person wants you to be. And that's how you become a pick me. You get your hair fixed, you get your skin done, you get your skin tone changed or lightened or darkened, or you wear different types of clothes or whatever the case may be to try to fit in with a group of people that once rejected you or that once didn't like you. And don't get me wrong, because sometimes if you really desire fitting in, you may have to adapt or you may have to change yourself to fit in with said group of people or with said like people, because that's just the way of the land. That's just the way that they do things. Like to say, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So if you want to fit in with a certain group of people or with a certain person, then you may have to change yourself and whatnot to be with that person or be with that group. But you kind of have to be careful of that, because before you decide to change yourself to fit anybody else's perceptions of you, see how that change is going to benefit you or hurt you. If you being yourself has gained you a lot of attention in life, it's made you a lot of money, it has allowed you to be blessed and to be admired and to be seen and considered and to be, an amazing person, or you being you has blessed you with a wonderful life, then keep doing it. But if you being who you are has caused you more harm than good, then yeah, you may need to change and may need to adopt, other people's ways to an extent for you to become better and be better. Because my thing is that, and then I'm gonna go into something else about this whole monitoring spirit thing, because there is a such thing as a monitoring spirit, or there are monitoring spirit like people. These are people that are just like lurkers and scanners, where they will scan your picture, scan your profile, or even scan your personality, and then when you see them again, they got you on, or they look like you, or they doing exactly what you're doing. That's what you would call like a monitoring spirit. But I feel like some people kind of got this monitoring spirit thing. Just some people are just doing too much with it, because I have seen people block people for simply not liking. They follow them, but they don't like nothing that they do or nothing that they put out or whatever. And some of these people that do this type of silly stuff be having over 20K followers or over 30K or 10K followers. And I'm saying, like, how can y'all pay attention to that one little person or these little bit of people not liking your stuff or commenting when you got 20, 30,000 other people that follow you? And people don't always have to like everything that you put out. And people don't always have to like everything that you put on. But at the same time, like, why do you feel like every person that's following you has to love and like everything that you do? Because some of this stuff that I'm seeing with people in this whole monitoring spirit thing is giving narcissists and overly self obsession. Because like, yeah, you cute, yeah, you fine, and you got all this good stuff about you, but it's like you don't know why people follow you. People can follow you for either good or bad, but you still got the followers. And my thing is that if you do get creepy vibes or whatever from somebody who's following you, then block them. But my thing is that some people they focus on the little bit and forget about the lot. Cause I'm like, if you got more than enough people following you, why is it that this one itty bitty person that's following you getting on your nerves so bad? And then another thing, spiritual people, they get me with this too, where they get real mad and upset if people go on their page and start like picking up stuff that they're doing, like tips, how to do spell work, how to talk to a certain spirit or deity, or how to get initiated and stuff. And then they start blocking people and get mad when people come to their page to learn, which is pretty much why you uploaded the thing. Like this is what be getting me about some of these spiritual folks and stuff. If you don't want people buying your stuff, or if you don't want people liking your stuff, or even like interested in what you're doing, don't post it. Or better yet, build you because now they got this thing called what, Discord. Get you a Discord and have like a little private discussion. And if you want your select few or itty bitty little like people, having your stuff, then ship it and send it to them and not send it to the masses. Because when you put stuff out there for public consumption, you can't control who buy, who like, who look, and who's interested in this stuff. And it's like a lot of y'all had to understand that you cannot control everybody and how they respond to you, which is silly. It's like in some instances you had to either accept or reject and then walk on. Because I just feel like some spiritual people, especially, they just kind of hurt my spirit a little bit when they just become so overly absorbed and overly obsessed that they get mad that people be on their pages learning stuff and picking up stuff from them. Well, if you don't want people learning stuff, then quit putting it out there. Like, quit taking pictures of altars, quit taking pictures of offerings and candle magic and work and the way that you serve your orishas and loas and stuff like that. Quit putting it on the page if you don't want people copying it. Quit putting advice and all this type of stuff and pretty pictures and all that on the page if you don't want people liking your stuff and lurking. It's like a lot of times, and I'm not trying to tell nobody what to do, but me, I ain't never been like this. Like the stuff that I've been through spiritually with people and this funny actingness when it come to who look and who want and who desire your stuff, and you may not desire the person who looking. It's ridiculous to me because I done had a lot of people be interested in me and my stuff that I didn't like, and I either, rejected them or I just went about my business to act like I didn't see them or whatever. Because there's a polite way to reject people. Because when you do all this blocking and pushing and pulling and snipping and cutting and stuff, you cause a lot of people to be bitter and hateful and resent you because of how you made them feel and then all this guilt stuff. And then this is another thing that gets me too with spiritual people, like y'all hurt more than y'all help now. Where it's all about you and all about what you want and who you see and who coming to you as clients, and clients being more attractive or being young or being less gifted than you. So it can make you feel better to have a one up on somebody that's coming to you. And that's the part that be getting me. Because I'm saying, like, people can miss out on a lot of good blessings being that picky like that and so controlling. But yeah, when it comes to this monitoring spirit stuff, it's just ridiculous to me because it's like everybody is not lurking and being nosy and trying to get in your stuff. And I mean, if that's what they're doing, block them. But it's like if they're not doing that, then you don't know why people are following you and looking. And if you don't want people cursing it or hexing it or putting stuff on it or sending evil out, don't post it. Because if you don't post anything, then the enemy doesn't know what to attack. That's why a lot of people nowadays are so keen on moving in silence and not telling stuff because they know as soon as you speak it and put it in the atmosphere or say something to somebody about it, more than likely it's going to crash and burn. And it will never manifest or never be anything. So, that's pretty much my whole spiel on the self love thing because it's like self love is just not taught like it used to be, and self love is just not, really being expressed or really being told how it's given. And another thing I want to say is self love is acknowledging your feelings and who you are as a person. So if somebody comes at you a wrong way, you have the right to correct them because that is your right as a human being to see yourself as human and to respect yourself. So, when you are a person who loves themselves for who they are and what they have to offer and whatnot, you know, you win with that. But when you love yourself, you not only make sure you look good, feel good, and that you're surrounded by good people and good company, but you'll make yourself comfortable as well. You'll pay attention to your feelings. You'll acknowledge your feelings. You will acknowledge how you feel, whether you need help, whether you don't, and what you want and what you don't want. When you love yourself, it just puts you in more control. And then when you become empowered and enlightened, you have more self control than you used to. So self love is a big thing. Self love has a lot of tactics. It has a lot of, ins and outs and whatnot. But when you love yourself for who you are, that's pretty much what happens. So I thank you all for watching my video. Don't forget to like, comment, and leave positive comments in the comment section, but also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a good night.